I'd like to explain the difference between working from a still life group, where we've arranged a group of objects, and a photograph. First of all, I'm going to start thinking of where do I place the first marks. And this is often people's main problem. I usually start from within the group. I look for a shape between, and I mean a shape either between objects or between parts of an object, that will, by placing that one shape on the paper, allow me to have a lot of different objects in exactly the right position. So I call this really an exercise in accuracy, and all I'm doing at the moment is trying to put what I see in front of me onto the paper. As I start drawing, I am finding form, and I have started with one of the onions and the one that's nearest to the shape I want to start with. So I'm going back along the base of an onion and working down the side of a mushroom and meeting a carrot. I'm looking at the other side of the onion and relating the other mushroom and still working on that carrot. I have got now a shape between. It's not exactly a negative shape that one could go right through, but it's a shape of the cloth that I can see between the mushroom, the onion, and the other mushroom and the carrot. It may not be at this precise moment exactly where I want it, but because my lines are wandering lines and finding form, if I want to change their position, I can. And I'm really going to feel my way round that onion. And by feeling, I am quite often following lines that I actually see because they are in fact the veins on the skin of the onion. In order to place things correctly in relation to each other, I need what I call drop lines, as well as my horizontal lines, to make sure that something out here is still on the same level as something back here, and that they relate to each other. So I'm beginning to draw a little bit heavier and working round to see where my drop lines are going to help me. This line is an imaginary line, but I can establish its position by holding the pencil up and just squinting at it to see what else comes in line with it underneath. I can hold the pencil horizontally and see another little shape, and actually by running a line across, and that is where I was holding my pencil, that's the pencil I saw, above that I can see the back of that mushroom, and I'm actually now establishing another shape between. But this shape between is between two objects and an imaginary line. But by doing that and keep looking and bringing my pencil back down, I can make sure that I've got it right. I then place the pencil above that line to see where it comes in relation to what's happening on another point where two things are joining. I call this a visual contact point, meaning that although from where I'm sitting it looks as if they're joined, if I were to walk round the side of the group I'd probably find they were quite separate. But that visual contact point will give me another drop line. Sometimes I just put them in knowing that I can use them later and not precisely at this moment. Here I've got my horizontal line and the visual contact point below. It's that little shape there that's so important, and I can check up again and see where it comes. That is going to give me the angle at which the carrot is sitting. Now I'll come back to this one, and I'm feeling my way round the mushroom, and I'm looking at a cast shadow. And I can bring the shadow away from the mushroom and place it around on the cloth and get the feeling of that shadow hitting the carrot. Immediately I do that, I'm tempted to start my finding out lines on the carrot. Now when I'm doing these lines, I'm not actually copying the superficial marks on the carrot, because that would be something I would put in at the end to make it recognisable. At the moment all I'm doing is following the form, so that I can get the feeling that that carrot comes round, the mushroom is flat, this comes round, and I have another flat mushroom over there. Now if I run up from here, still on this same drop line, but now travelling upwards, and I look at it behind my pencil line, I notice that this part here doesn't relate entirely to the same thing up there. I've got to go back a bit before I start moving off, and this would give me a chance to put another drop line in, and notice how far back I have to come, and that this is on an upward gradient, and I look again with the pencil and find how high the top of the onion is there compared with where this bit would end. And this does actually end below the horizontal line that comes from the top of the onion there. Now this is my mushroom, and I'm beginning now to follow out and round and up. So sometimes it's very helpful if you actually pass your line through another object, because this is only a rough drawing. That means I'm just placing things in this one. And I come out and look for another contact point, and I have a contact point where the onion is touching the mushroom higher up. Again, I could hold the pencil and notice that the back of that mushroom brings a drop line down at that point on the onion. So now I'm looking at this shape, in and up, and it's going away, and I've got a tone running down there, and this is taking me up to a line that's bringing me into that piece at the back, which is a little bit of terracotta, broken pot. Now I'm beginning now to place things in relation to each other. I can feel the form round here and bring that mushroom round. I want to know now where the contact point is, where the mushroom and the carrot cross at the back. So I again run a line across, and sometimes you can just draw in the air, and I notice that it comes that point above the base of that onion. So if I bring it along, it's got to touch there. And if it touches there, I know that I'm right in the position of that carrot, and I want to know how high to go with the carrot. So again, I run it along, and I find actually that the carrot isn't travelling uphill so much there, it is in fact flattening out. Now this is now helping me relate to the gills that are going into that main stem. And as soon as I start doing that, I'm asking myself another question: where does that part of the stem come in relation to the onion and to the carrot? It's all about relationships. So I'm lining that up again, and I can either hold my pencil and look along, either above or below it, or I can squint at it and run a line along. I'm actually going to change something here. I'm going to turn that out a bit because the line comes a bit higher up. It's only a tiny little area I see above it. So if I run it along, and I see that that's where it starts, so I know that that has got to come where that is allowed to remain. And now I can start feeling my way outwards, and I'm working with directional strokes because these are coming towards me and radiating out from that stem. These are going up away because that is the side of the stalk there, and I'm feeling them again radiate out this way. I want to know where the edge of the carrot comes in relation to this, and it's a very short stalk actually, and it's about there on the carrot, so it's only going to be there above it, and then I can bring those out and bring this shape. Now I'm looking at a shape between. I'm looking down the side of the carrot, and I'm looking at a dark shape here, which I might just put in as a shape, because it's that shape that tells me which angle to take that mushroom.